there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm sharing about these books that I've been reading lately. So these are the books that I have read lately that have been on my nightstand. Most of them aren't that long, and so I wanted to talk to you about those. I don't know. Time has just gotten away from me. I've been super busy with a lot of things going on here at the house, and just was too busy. I was just too busy to film, and I'll tell you this too. I wanted to read, so I needed to read, and I chose to read instead of film. And I don't apologize for that, because this is a booktube channel. If I'm not reading, then I can't share anything. And so I did take some extra time to read, to catch up on some things. I had some buddy reads to finish up. Lots of things were going on. And I don't even think I have even talked about what I read in October. So I have a couple of book reviews I need to post. And then a few things that I'm going to talk about here that I finished in October that I haven't talked about. So the first one is one I finished in October, and it's, well, maybe I finished it. Yeah, I did. I think I finished this in October. It's The Vanishing Scarecrow by Phyllis Whitney. This is one of those middle grade mysteries from back in the day that I love so much. And this one I had high hopes for because it is this vanishing pumpkin scarecrow, and I just thought that that would be a fun one to read in October. And it did have some creepy things in it. A couple of spots I thought, okay, this is a little too creepy for me. But it wasn't exactly the tone I was going for, because it's set in the summertime at an amusement park. This little girl and her mother moved to this amusement park to take over the park because the uncle has passed away and left the park to them. And there's a couple of things going on with the person that has been running the park, the manager, and somebody else that works there. There's a little, they're not happy with one another, and they don't like the way the other ones run, and that kind of thing. So there is a mystery behind that already. So when they get there, there is a field of scarecrows, and in those scarecrows, the kids at the amusement park can walk through them, but there is somebody that dresses in one of the scarecrows and kind of scares the kids. And unfortunately, this scarecrow costume is stolen, and some stranger is now going around in this amusement park. So that was kind of creepy. And then there was this other part where it's like this witch's lair, and what was so scary about it was when you walked into it, and it was like kids could walk into this thing, and I think, I don't know if I would want my child to walk into this little room. But you would walk in and it would be completely dark. I mean, pitch black dark. And then you kind of fumble your way to this witch who is, at the cauldron, and she's, stirring the pot or whatever. And to me, that was creepy. And at one point, the girl, the main character who's trying to figure out this, solve this mystery, she is in this room, and it's, pitch black. She can't find her way around. I was a little nervous for her. I started feeling a little tension for her at that point. And then when she goes over to the mechanical witch, it's not the mechanical witch, it's an actual person. So that was scary. And then there was a couple of other places that were scary where she gets in a tight situation too. So it was a little creepy for me in some of this. But this is one of those vintage books that I found. I've been trying to read through these Phyllis Whitney books. I really enjoy these, and I did enjoy it, but it wasn't my favorite. I think I wanted it to be more of a fall read, and I was in the mood for that. So I should have read this in the summertime, but I didn't know it took place in the summertime. But still, it was a fun read for a middle grade. And then this one was another middle grade. It's a Newbery winner, and I've been trying to read the Newbery winners. I think this one was sometime in the 1920s. It was published maybe 1920s, 1930s. The Trumpeter of Cal, I guess is how you say it, by Eric Kelly. This was okay. It had a lot of crystals and things in it, and I don't get into any of that kind of thing. It was set in the medieval times. I liked the setting. I liked that part of it, but it was heavily crystals, and these magic crystals was part of it, and I just I don't like any of that. Now, it didn't celebrate that. It was more, this is like black magic and it's dark and it's bad. But I just am not interested in anything like that. So it was an okay read. It was adventurous. It was highly adventurous, but it just wasn't something that I was interested in reading. But I did read it because I'm trying to read all the Newbery books. The next one I found at a library sale, and it is the sweetest little book. It's called The Christmas Quest, and I kind of hate to share it because it's probably out of print. It's by Julia Glover, and I don't know when, maybe the 1920s or 30s or something. It is the sweetest little book about a young girl. She's lost her parents, and she has like brothers and sisters to take care of, and she's living in, when her parents die, they die of a flu. When they die, they are living in like renting out a floor in this house, and so the man and woman let them continue living there because they have nowhere to go. There's no relatives, and it's about the struggle of that. And there's this sweet little Sunday school teacher who befriends them, and there is this other man who befriends them in another way. One of the little boys meets him. It's just the sweetest little book, and everything comes to a head at Christmas Eve. Everything comes together, and it's just one of those heartwarming, sweet little treasures for Christmas. And if you can get a copy, I don't know that you can find it, but I highly recommend it. If you ever see this in a little thrift store somewhere, this one is precious. It's called The Christmas Quest, and I loved it. I also picked up The Quiet Little Woman. It's a Christmas story by Louisa May Alcott. I have a Christmas collection of Louisa May Alcott that I've read a few stories from. This one I thought was just The Quiet Little Woman, but there's actually 3 stories in here. They were okay, but I had just finished this one, and it was so great that these kind of fell flat for me. Again, they were okay, but not my favorite Christmas short stories. But the next 2 books are fantastic. The first one I really want to talk about, that is for Nonfiction November. I started this in October and I finished it in November. It's called At Her Majesty's Request, an African Princess in Victorian England. And this is about a young girl. They end up naming her Sarah, but she's brought over as a gift to Queen Victoria, and they build a relationship. Queen Victoria is her benefactor. She provides for her throughout her entire life, and it's about her story. And this is more of a middle grade level, so it was a super easy read, but it is fantastic, and I highly recommend it. One of you sent it to me, Helen. Thank you for sending this to me because it was great. I had just finished Victober, and so starting this was wonderful. And I highly recommend it. It's Nonfiction November. See if your library has it because it's not long. You could certainly squeeze this in over the next couple of weeks in Nonfiction November. And if not, save it for next year for Victober because it's a great one. It was, I was tearing up in a lot of this. It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was encouraging too. And so I highly recommend this story. I didn't know anything about it. I think I'd heard something about this girl, Sarah, but I didn't know her story, and it is an amazing one. It's stories like this that I love to discover. You know, you'll find these little tidbits of story about people, and it's like, wow, why didn't I know about that? And so this is one of those stories for me. And so thank you again to Helen for sending this because I really enjoyed that book. And then I read The Noble Guardian by Michelle Greet because this was one for my book cart spin. I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I always review them when I do the book cart spin. So I will share my actual review of this in the book cart spin video. But I will say I loved it. I'm surprised at how much I loved this book. And I'm using this also for historathon because it is historical fiction. So those are the books that I have read lately. I apologize for not posting a reading update last week. It's just been crazy. Right now I'm reading 1776 for Nonfiction November. I'm also reading for the More Montgomery Challenge. I hope you are participating in that with us. I'm reading right now a short story collection. It's the Further Chronicles of Avonlea. And then I'm also reading the Anne of Green Gables devotional, where you read just a little bit of that each day. So that's where I am with that right now. And then I have also been reading for my Nancy Drew read along. We're on number 3, which is the Bungalow Mystery. And so I started that one this week as well. So what are you reading? Are you participating in Nonfiction November, the More Montgomery Challenge, or the Historathon? Let me know in the comments what you're reading and we'll chat there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.